to round 3 of the AMF GT3 Series. Tonight we are here at the Daytona International Speedway at night, racing in GT3 cars. I'd like to welcome my co-commentator Nathan Hupperts. Good evening, Nathan.
Good evening, Ryan. How are you going tonight?
Oh, I'm good, mate. Very good. At night.
Great night to be watching the cars blast around the Daytona road course.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. Cars are always very, very fast here, and the drafting always makes for very good racing. So interesting to see how they go around here tonight.
Yeah, I'm very keen to see how they go as well. It's a really different sort of racing compared to a normal racetrack. So we're going to start to see some real tactics come into play in this one, I think.
Oh, I would think so, yes. A lot of tactics, probably even team tactics, depending up the top here. As we look at the grid here, with Ross Rizzo's taken pole position, very, very closely behind Byron Phillips for the Evolution Racing team, Martin Silvassi and Mario Vartanen, Scott Forsyth, Lockhart Brownlee, Tim Phoeben, Jamie Dyke, Tom Huggan, Ben Dow, Rob Carmichael and Jesse Butler round out the top 12. Lee Vandenberg for Mark 1 Esports, Adrian for DPR Racing, Paul Jones, Luke Swan, Chris Weitzel, Blake Delaney for Fishing Motorsports, Amber Griffin, Michael Whiting, Brenton West for West Performance Racing, Jake Ferracci, Chris Pallett, Eddie Van Helston. Quite a big field tonight too. Grant Matterford, Henry Thomas Kircher, Michael Schroeder, Cam Walker, Adam Bryant and Gregory Collin rounding out top 30, Justin Cotterill, Justin Quinn, Tom Chapman, Craig Ellis, Chris Barnes, Richie Domingo, and followed up by Todd George, Adam Kudra, Malcolm Kutz, Justin Heatley, Michael Robertson, Jamie Craig, Nathan Lynch. And that is the grid of 43. There are some other drivers there, but they aren't racing with us.
Busy grid tonight with I guess a real range of I ratings in this one too. So a bit of field spread too. I think some people got a good toe to get a good position in quali, and some of the faster guys we might see come through the field a bit.
Yeah, I think they will. Just waiting for the cars to grid up now. It is saying Heat 1, but we're trying something new tonight, so there'll be two races. We have a 15-minute race and then a 30-minute race following that. Here they are getting ready to start the race off. Familiar
name at the front, Ross Rizzo, so he's obviously he was able to get a bit of a toe on his last quali lap there just to snatch pole in the last 60 seconds or so ahead of Byron Phillips.
Yeah, it should be an interesting battle between those two. They're very closely matched in qualifying, so look, lap 1, turn 1 at Daytona, we could expect fireworks. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that there'll be a couple guys who are going to be aggressive to try and make up positions, but I think the real goal of these guys in the sort of the top 10 who think they might have a chance to win this one, they're going to want to make sure they keep in the draft and they don't fall away from a pack. So I think that's the real strategy here.
Well, what they'll need to keep in mind especially is their finishing positions in race 1 will determine the grid for the race 2, and they're also given full points for their finishing positions in race 1, so you really want to make sure you finish well in both races. With Ross Rizzo's jumped out, done a fantastic start there.
Yeah, Ross has got a nice jump there. Martin Silvassi, his teammate, right behind, so hopefully they can maintain some formation here. Fairly clean so far into turn 1. That's always the risky turn at the start of a race at Daytona.
Yeah, it's generally one of those tracks where it's hit and miss for how the start's going to be. It does look pretty clean so far. Don't really seem to have any stragglers on the track map there, so they're getting through. There's a couple sitting at the back there, but Rizzo's gotten out to a pretty nice lead there.
He's got to be hard for him to break away here. I think anywhere up to sort of 9/10 of a second or a full second behind, you're still going to get some tow. So he'll be pushing really hard with Martin here to try and make a break early.
Yeah, Jackson's already having a look on Martin there as well. Let's see if he's going to be brave enough to keep it pinned there around the outside all the way down to the bus stop.
Yeah, this is a move of courage, this one.
He swept straight across the front of him.
Yeah, see, if I was Martin here, I wouldn't be fussed with that. I'd be happy just to tuck in behind and, you know, save my tyres a little bit and wait for my turn.
Yeah, well, I suppose at the end of the day, you've only got to pass him on the last lap through the bus stop to get the second place, don't you? You don't need to pass him every lap.
No, that's exactly right. And I think what we might see in this first sprint race is a couple of guys in the draft just going out and around to see if they can slingshot past to the finish line. And they'll do a bit of a test run before the last lap of the race.
And Scott's trying to go around the outside here at turn 1. Scott's looking pretty racy as well.
Nice move there. He's going to have the inside for turn 3 here, which is what you want. Getting the move done. Mario Bartanian trying to muscle his way through there as well.
Yeah, Mario's... I've seen a little bit of Mario. He doesn't race much with us, but he can be quite an aggressive driver. So, he's never going to die wondering, Mario, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes tonight.
That's exactly right. And Lockhart Brownlee, Fusion Sim Racing driver, he's one of our young drivers in our team. Done a great job to qualify up in 6th here, and I think because of this, you know, pushing and shoving in the top 5, it's allowing him to keep up at the moment.
Yeah, he's held station quite well. No huge movers. Eddie Van Helson's moved up 6 positions already, up into 18th. So he's moving along quite well there in the West Performance car. Quite a striking livery. You're not going to miss that car in a pack.
Lockhart making the move there on Martin Silvassi, it looks like.
Silvassi looks like he might be in a bit of trouble actually. He's dropped down quite a bit.
So Tim Feeman here will be just seeing what sort of tow he can get around the outside of Lockhart. The other thing to remember is if these guys are going side by side through corners, they're in real danger of losing the tow from the cars in front.
Yeah, it's a very fine line as Tim tries to have a look down the inside. He's pulled that BMW up quite nicely too. It's a fine line at Daytona. Do you push hard for that extra place, or do you stay in line so that you don't lose the tow of the cars in front? The draft is very, very powerful here, and if you lose it, it can be quite hard to catch those cars in front of you again.
That's exactly right, and pushing hard into some of these corners, braking deep, getting on the throttle early, it does wear the tyres as well. Tim been quite aggressive, isn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say Tim definitely has decided he wants that spot off Lockhart. But to Lockhart's credit, he's definitely fought him very, very well. Some great respectful driving from both these guys, giving plenty of room and enjoying a good race.
Of course, the other thing Tim has to worry about is the car's right behind him, so there's a bit of a gaggle forming behind him here. So Lockhart's really got to try and keep his eyes forward and get up to the car in front of him, which is Mario up ahead.
Very, very close there between Martin and Silvassi. Martin and Tim Feeban, so they're pushing each other. Oh, and a big one.
Oops, here we go. Yeah, 2x2 through that bus stop is a difficult move.
Yeah, it's generally something that doesn't pay off very well.
No, that's it. Someone has to give up the position in there, otherwise either you both lose heaps of time or you're going to end up with contact like that.
And we've got another...
Ooh.
It looks like quite a big crash actually.
There's a bit of drama there.
Looks like the fishy car's just come down.
Yeah, it's like he didn't know there was a car on the inside of him there. He's just moved right over.
We'll let the race control can deal with that one. sure they'll let us know what happened. And it looks like Amber Griffin and Rob Carmichael were bipartizans and getting taken out in that incident as well, so a bit unfortunate for them.
It's always unlucky when you get caught up in someone else's accident. But Blake Delaney doing a good job here. I think he might benefit from a bit of biff and barge up ahead as well.
Yeah, he's moved up 6 positions and he's all over back of Jake and Henry in front of him, so I'll be interested to see.
A bit of a gap there from Henry up into the cars in front of him. It's about 4 seconds there, so Henry's going to be doing the hard work, pulling the guys behind him along in the tow. But Mark 1 Esports are well represented here tonight with Tim Phoebe and Henry and a couple of other drivers all doing a good job.
Yeah, the Mark 1 boys, they're big lovers of the AMF series and have spent quite a few seasons with us now, and they seem to jump on everything we put in.
And a competitive team that I've had lots of great battles with them on the track over the past few years.
Yeah, I can't say the same. I don't do much racing nowadays, but I've watched plenty of battles, and they're a very respectful team. It's good to see Jake coming racing for us. Jake's actually got quite a lot of real-world experience in racing as well.
Well, yeah, he's shown a bit of pace actually. I think we've seen him in GTE on Sunday nights as well, and he's been quite quick.
He has done quite a lot of real-life racing, so yeah, good to see him racing with us. He was racing in the Australian GT Championship in 2018 in the Mercedes AMG GT3, so let's see how his GT3 knowledge goes in the iRacing GT3s.
I think he's got good pace, but he's going to struggle here. I think we're seeing it's not that easy to overtake cars in the GT3s here. We only got the 2 cars, the BMW and the Lamborghini, and from what it looks like so far, they both seem pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, our resident Stig has done a great job with the fixed setups for these 2 cars, and what we're going to see is probably over the season we're going to see tracks that suit the different cars as we go along. Nürburgring was clearly a BMW track. The Lamborghini struggled quite a lot there. It looks like this is probably more of a Lamborghini track than a BMW, but they are a lot closer here than they were at the Nürburgring.
Although it's good to see that it's certainly not all Lamborghinis up the front. We've got Mario Vartanian in 3rd place in the BMW, and then we've also got Tom Huggan right on the back of Lockhart Brownlee and Scott Forsyth at the moment. They're having a real battle into turn 1.
Yeah, these 3 cars, you could throw a blanket over the top of them as Scott pinches a brake there and runs wide. Unfortunate for Scott there, but he'll tuck in behind, and I'm sure we'll be back with him very, very quickly.
Yeah, very, very impressed with Lockhart so far. He's only about 16 years old and doing a great job.
I didn't realise he was 16, but a lot of these sim races are actually. It's quite shocking how young some of them are and how quick they are at that age.
Yeah, no, he learns fast, and Lockhart's he's always keen to look at our lines and our data when we're practicing, and has improved his speed. He might only be 15 actually. I'd have to check, but he's very keen and really putting in the effort to get quicker. So great to see him up there and holding his own.
Yeah. Congratulations to him at that age and being able to keep this kind of pace. He's shown some pretty good pace over the last couple of seasons in the GTE series as well, so he's only going to get faster hanging out with the Fusion Sim Racing boys with the likes of yourself and Craig Edwards there, so it's a good base for him.
But we've got Tom Hogan behind him now in the Mark 1 BMW, and we know Tom's shown a real improvement in his pace since he left XRC and moved over to Mark 1 a season ago, and he's been one of the front runners in GTE, so he's going to apply some pretty serious pressure to Lockhart now.
He was knocking on the doors even in his XRC days. Tom's got a lot of pace, and I think that move to Mark 1 just unlocked that little bit extra, I think. And he's been doing fantastic, and pushing 4 wins or podiums as well in the GT series, and I won't be surprised to see him up in a podium position tonight in either of these 2 races.
We just saw how difficult it was then for Tom to get a run. Even though he had a good exit behind Lockhart there onto the main straight, he couldn't get ahead of him by the start-finish line. So, if I was Tom, that would be quite telling for me. I'd know that I'd have to overtake Lockhart somewhere before the main straight. You really want to be ahead of your competition out of the bus stop, I think.
Yeah, somewhere definitely in the midfield.
Ross still leading the race there with Byron close behind, really sticking with him.
Yeah, Byron hasn't let him go at all.
Yeah, both quick drivers, and if Byron can just keep in the toe there and keep the pressure on him, then he's just going to have to wait for an opportunity and maybe hope Ross makes a little bit of a mistake. But we know what Ross is like as a driver. He makes so few mistakes on iRacing, and unless there's a bit of back market traffic like there is now, that could create a bit of an opportunity for Byron.
Ross almost let him have it in a way.
Yeah, that's really surprising actually. He must be confident in the draft. Maybe the Lamborghini's a little bit better in the draft than we saw from Tom Huggins' BMW, but if it was me, I'd definitely be thinking I'd want to be in the lead in this one, so we'll have to see what happens in the next few laps. We've only got a couple laps to go here. I think we're 12 and a half minutes into this 15-minute sprint race.
Yeah, it does say 250 laps there, but it's most definitely only a 15-minute sprint race, so I would say probably 2 more laps, maybe 3 at a push.
Yeah, we're looking at this lap and 1 more, I think, and that'll be it.
Yeah, Tom's just holding stations there. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get past Lockhart here. I'm just looking down the order to see what other fights we've got. We've got Michael Whiting's in a bit of a battle here with Cam Walker as well. Michael's been a bit of a mainstay in the AMF series for Fishy Motorsports as well. He races quite well and he's a very, very fair driver. So interesting to see how he goes up against Cam Walker.
He's certainly got some consistency, and there's been certain rounds where Michael's really shown quite a bit of pace, so I think maybe some tracks he might prefer more than others, but he's doing a great job here tonight.
Lee Vanderberg sitting in 7th place for the Mark 1 Esports guys. They generally do have quite a stacked field for the Mark 1 boys tonight.
Yeah, he's got a teammate, Ben Dow, sitting right there behind him, and surprised to see Ben back there in 8th. He was right up the top in the practice session earlier and maybe just didn't get a good quali lap in, but quali's so important around here, and losing the toe to the cars in front means you could be stuck back in 7th or 8th when really you might have the pace to be top 3.
Yeah, it's having teammates, I guess, is going to be the key at Daytona. If you've got teammates to help you with that strategy, then you're going to go a lot better. Grant Matterford up into 13th, he's jumped 12 positions, and Martin Silvashi has dropped down to 14th position. I'm not quite sure what's happened to Martin there, but he hasn't had a very good run.
No, he really went backwards there a bit at the start. I wonder if he was maybe just being a bit too aggressive through the bus stop, and I think he got bumped in there and lost a few positions, and didn't really defend his place early on, I don't think.
No, it's a fantastic drive for Grant here in the Century Batteries PRT car, Pulse Racing Team car, for move up 12 positions. And another person to mention, probably Richie Domingo, who's a privateer in our series. He's up 17 positions tonight.
That's fantastic going. Fantastic game for Richie, yeah.
That's a great start for Richie.
Looks like we're on the last lap now, so Byron ahead of Ross. It's going to be pretty close out of the bus stop, so Ross needs a really good exit here to try and slingshot past Byron.
I don't think he got it.
No, 4/10ths back out of the bus stop is going to be pretty tough. And Mario, another 4 seconds behind, sort of in no man's land. He's probably had a bit of a boring race, Mario, but
Yeah, I don't think we've really talked about him much at all tonight. He's
It looks like Byron's going to hold on there, which is a great job. And Lockhart just grabs fourth across the line from Tom, so
yeah,
well done to Lockhart.
one and a half,
well.
1.5 tenths at the end there between Lockhart and Tom, so that's great work from Lockhart to hold him off. Oh, Silvassi managed to jump both Cam Walker and Grant right at the end there.
It's a great finish.
That's a fantastic finish for those guys.
We love seeing finishes like that at Daytona. Tim Bevan in 21st, yeah, he had a rotten start to the race.
Tim Phoeben for 2021 has had rotten luck in general in AMF races. That was very, very close between those two drivers there. My timing screen saying 0.00.
It would be at 1,000th of a second there by the looks of it.
Yeah. Just waiting for the last of the guys to come across the line.
I believe Jesse Butler down in 31st. I'm not used to seeing Jesse so far down the order there.
No, unfortunately Jesse was part of that that crash with the Fishy Motorsports car, so that's a bit unfortunate for him. But
yeah, it is unlucky.
Great track conditions for tonight. Weather's only 19 degrees. Track temperature's 22. Nice cool air, a little bit of wind. So yeah, definitely nothing to complain about for the track tonight.
Yeah, it's always fun to drive on a nighttime track. You get a lot more grip. So at the practice session, the guys are doing 146s in the daylight hours, and they were down to 144s, so 2 seconds quicker a lap at night time, which always makes it a bit more fun in the cars. You can be a bit more aggressive, and they're not quite as loose. So yeah, it's great temperature and really great first sprint race.
Yeah, be interesting to see how the longer race goes for these guys. Tyre wear will definitely come into play.
It will, and a fuel stop is required. So the next one, we're certainly going to see some strategy. I think that first sprint race, everyone worked out that the toe is not quite as powerful as they'd want down the main straight. So positioning is going to matter quite a bit. So I think the lead guys, if they find themselves down in third, fourth, fifth, and so on, would probably be trying to save a bit of fuel and jump people in a pit stop.
Yeah. So I think we've got a warm up here. Might just have a chat to the comms guys and get them to advance this warm-up session. Hey man, do you want to advance that warm-up session?
Yeah, might as well, yeah.
Yep. Sweet.
We're scheduled for a 5-minute warm-up, but we're going to see if we can move that forward a little bit just to get into our next 30-minute race.
Yep. Yeah, we've had that advanced. I went and had a chat to the stewards and got them to move that forward. These guys probably don't need a 5-minute warm-up for a 30-minute race, especially after just having 15-minute race.
I think they'll be itching to get back into it again.
Oh, I think so, yes.
Right, so we start with the same grid as the finish.
Yes.
Of that first race?
Yes. So the grid is the finish of the first race. So remember that the guys will score points for their positions they finished in the first race, and then they will score the same points again for the position they finish in this race. So it is very, very important to finish in these races, but we do score all the way down the grid. So regardless of where you finish, you will score points. So Byron's going to start this one in pole position with Rizzo behind, and Mario's up into third with Lockhart Brownlee starting on the second row. A fantastic drive from him in the first race. Tom Huggan and Scott Forsyth, Lee Vanderberg, Ben Dow, Jamie Dyke, Blake Delaney for Fishing Motorsports, Luke Swan and Martin Silvassi down in 12th. Cam Walker, Grant Matterford, Michael Whiting, Chris Pellett, Richie Domingo, Tom Chapman, Tim Phoeben, Craig Ellis, Todd George, Adam Kudra and Brenton West rounding out your top 24. We'll just wait for the rest of the leaders to grid, which they are now.
They're just moving away to get ready for the start.
So this one's a 30-minute feature race. So the tyre wear will definitely come into this. The guy's pushing, maybe not the tyre wear so much here tonight in Daytona, but definitely if it was a daytime race, the tyre wear would be a big factor.
Yeah, that's right. I think for 30 minutes, I wouldn't be too fussed about the tyres, but I would be carefully watching my position, and I'd be watching fuel because, so the viewers are aware, we've got fuel limited cars here, so these guys are all starting with a fuel level that is not going to get them to the end of this 30 minutes, so everyone will have to make a pit stop.
No,
so,
actually, no, they have 60 litres of fuel in them, so they will
do?
make it to the end. Yeah, that was part of what we've changed. We've changed it so it is just two separate races, so no need for fuel stop or anything like that.
Right.
We
so
thought
full out sprint, right?
Yeah. So that's two sprints. We've got a 15-minute sprint and a 30-minute sprint.
My apologies. Well, we're going to see some action then, because these guys know they're going to have to make overtakes to get a position here.
Yes. Yeah. So we should see quite a lot of action as Byron gets a fantastic jump down into turn one. Actually, Byron and Ross have already gapped the field. Watching the guys shuffle the orders around. It's such a great track for GT racing because you can go three wide in some points of this track and it not be a dangerous thing. As Nathan Lynch has been turned around by the looks of it, he's firing down the order very, very quickly.
Fortunate for Nathan, but again, a really clean start from the field, which is really impressive. I've seen so many races here that have absolute catastrophes at turn one, so it's really good to see a clean start.
Just a replay here of what happened to Nathan. Oh, he's touched the curb and spun it off himself. Not quite sure where he was, and yeah, he's touched the curb in the wrong spot and sent himself spinning.
It's happened to the best of us, but he can get back on track there and keep going. Byron and Ross are making a little bit of a getaway at the moment. I think they're trying to pull a bit of a gap on Tom Huggan, but the lead order hasn't really changed from the start of the race.
No, not really, no. You've still got Mario sitting there in third, but he's almost 8/10 behind Rizzo now. Huggan's all over Lockhart. And got a fantastic run and got the inside line. But Lockhart closes it.
Nice move from Lockhart, closing the door. He's been driving confidently.
Oh, he's a bit squirrely under brakes there, but managed to hold it quite well. Tom's got a fantastic drive out of that section, but on the outside line,
Nice to see some aggression there from Lockhart, though. I think he was looking to try and get around the outside of Mario if he could. Sounds like we've had a bit of an incident in the back of the field there, so race control's looking at a couple of little issues, but no major incidents from what I could tell.
Yeah, I've got a car crashed here. Michael Robertson. Very, very easy crash to do in turn one.
Yeah, it is. It's cars are really on the limit into there, so it's very easy to do that. I'm going to guess what I'm looking at, Ryan, because I can't see the race broadcast at the moment, but I'll keep looking at the field here on my screen.
Just watching Chris Pellet here, he's had a bit of a moment into turn 6.
Yes, possibly he might have got help there, I think.
No, he locked it all up by himself. I think he might have had a bit of a scratch earlier on.
Watching Tom Huggan here applying the blowtorch to Lockhart. Yeah, Tom knows he's probably a little bit quicker than Lockhart most days of the week, so he'll be a little bit frustrated here and trying very, very hard to not lose the cars in front and not make a wrong move here especially.
Yeah, just in the background there we saw Lee Vandenberg really just nail it into turn 1 down the inside of Scott and pull off a great move there.
Two Mark 1 cars nose to tail there now.
Yeah, maybe a bit of Lee Vandenbergen can almost be the rear gunner for Tom. Keep Scott at bay in a way.
And Lee's another driver we haven't spoken about tonight, but he's shown some really solid pace in AMF in the last couple of months especially, but consistently for the past 12 months. So he'll be looking to really make a move here and try and get up forward.
Yeah, Lee's always been quite fast, and I'm sure he'll move up the order as the series goes on. We've been away from GT3 cars for quite a while here, so it's all a bit new for the drivers dropping back into GT3s.
Yeah, it's a little bit different from the GTEs. I've raced a lot of GTE, and I did a couple of rounds here in the GT3, and it's not too bad. The braking points are a little bit different, and the cars feel a little bit looser. There's a bit less aero grip in faster corners, so fantastic fun to drive. I've spoken to some of the Mark 1 boys as well as our own team, and everyone's really been enjoying it.
Well, as a lot of people would know, but some of our viewers may not, we started off as a GT3 series 4 years ago now, and then slowly moved into GTEs as they became available, so it's nice that we can offer both series now.
Well, it's been a bit of a change for the lead in the front of the pack here. Looks like Byron's made a bit of a mistake into turn 1 and locked up, and that has let Mario through into the lead. Lockout up to 3rd, so it's all happening at the moment.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Let's see if we can get a replay of that.
Surprised Byron made a mistake here. He had a bit of a gap to Ross.
Mario's sent it, and Byron's run wide, and Mario's gotten down the inside of Ross. Lockhart's put the move onto Ross as well.
Yeah, very nearly got it done. Ross was lucky he had the inside line there. Maybe Ross and Byron were just carrying a little bit too much speed into turn 1 there. They both seem to run wide.
Yeah. Pushing each other as hard as they can, I guess.
And now it looks like the top 7 or 8 cars here have got a nice even spread between them, so Lockhart here in position 3 will be just trying to keep in the toe of the lead 2 cars, and I think Ross might fancy himself against Mario here in the Beamer, so we'll have to see what the Lambo's like in the toe.
I think the Lambo should be a little bit slipperier, you would think, but remains to be seen.
Yeah, Ross got a good X there. He was 4 tenths behind, and that difference is dropping now, 3 tenths.
Yeah, we're down to almost 2 tenths.
We can watch that gap dropping, so we'll see how he goes across the line here. This will be a good test.
And
Lockhart with a great slingshot.
Yeah, Lockhart's had a fantastic run. Oh, and Byron out of nowhere too. Tom Huggan wanted to have a look on Ross then too. And this is played into the hands of people like Vandenberg and Scott Forsyth as well. That's brought them right back in the mix. You've got top 7 cars covered by less than 2 seconds now. And there's still another 23 minutes of this race to go.
So it's really on the front. It's great to watch. So Lockhart just left the door open into turn 2 there, and that let Byron up the inside. Now it's Byron's turn on Mario. What can we expect here?
Well, if history repeats itself, Lockhart's going to get a fantastic run on Byron here, but Ross Ritter is going to get an even better run because that's where Byron came from on the last lap.
Exactly right. Yeah, I think Lockhart's going to have to make up this gap a little bit, or I think Ross Rizzo is going to get the double slingshot behind him. And poor Mario at the front is going to feel like he's the target for sure. I really wouldn't want to be sitting right at the front at the moment with these guys. They're looking pretty aggressive.
Yeah, it's one of those funny ones. You always want to be leading a race, but at a track like Daytona, sometimes you don't want to be because you're definitely a target and you definitely got a spot on your back.
It doesn't look like Lockhart in 3rd got a great exit there, but Ross
definitely
and Tom
did.
behind him, yeah, definitely did.
And Tom will get the effects of the double slingshot here, so.
Here we go. Lockhart's left a bit of room up the inside.
Oh.
He doesn't want to give it away. It's close racing at the front.
I think Lockhart left that move to defend Ross there a little bit late, and Ross has dived down below the yellow lines, which is generally against the rules in AMF, but if that was me stewarding that, I would let that one go, purely for the fact that Lockhart left his defensive move very, very late.
Lockhart, he's still leaving the door open into some of these corners here, but I think he likes the outside line.
Well, you do get a better run. Daytona is great because there are a few lines through these corners, and it does give you a better run into the next, or down that next straight if you do run that wide line.
Right, sometimes it is better just to leave that space on the inside, so yeah, you do have the better line into the next corner, which is what's happened in this case.
Yes.
I mean, Byron's got some pace here, so he's going to try and pull away from Mario, so the rest of the field are really going to be wanting Mario to keep up with Byron here.
Doesn't look like he's going to, by the looks of it. We look at their best laps, even, but quite, as you would expect in a track that's all draft, the guys further down the field in this pack have actually got the better lap times there. So Vanderberg and Jamie Dyke.
Oh no, there's been an incident. Looks like Tom Huggin just got into the back of Ross accidentally there when Lockhart had to check up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just unlucky, I think.
Very unlucky.
I mean, Lockhart got a bit loose on the entry there and did a great job to control it, but lost all his momentum, and that unfortunately caused Tom to run into the back of Ross.
Unfortunately, these things do happen in racing. Knowing Tom's not the kind of driver to make those kind of mistakes very often, and definitely not the kind of driver to push himself to be in those positions. So Tom will be kicking himself for that mistake.
Oh, definitely. He's a good racer and a fair racer, and he was straight on the radio to apologise to Ross there. So he definitely didn't mean it. But what that has done is really opened up a gap for the top three now. So Scott Forsyth is about 3 seconds behind Lockhart in third. So Lockhart's going to be working hard to make his way up to Mario in second place here. And
quick mention about Rob Carmichael here in the Fishies Motorsport entry. He's up 22 positions in this race, so clearly that crash that affected him in his finishing position in race 1 really hurt his chances, because he's absolutely flying out there.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Rob's a quick driver, as we know, so not surprising to see him gain some positions, but 22, that's a mega effort only 11 minutes into a race.
And Jake as well. Jake's up 18 positions with Jesse Butler in front of him as well. So again, Jesse Butler had an unfortunate first race, so he's made up quite a few positions in this race as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, these are some of the guys we'd mentioned at the start of this race who are quick and back in the field, and they'd be working hard to try and make their way forward. So Jamie Dykes made his way up here in front of Scott Forsyth, 5 positions, so that's a great result for Jamie. He's doing well.
Yeah, great drive from Jamie. I think Scott unfortunately got held up a little bit with the crash into the bus stop with Tom and Rizzo, which obviously held him back a bit, but it's been great for Jamie. Jamie's been able to get up the inside. So we've got a spinner there on the exit of turn 1.
Got a couple of people pitting, so Ross has come into the pits. I think he's just taken that opportunity to get a pit stop out of the way.
I could be incorrect with the fuel. They may have changed it and allowed for fuel, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not in control of this series anymore, so it's kind of nice in a way not to be an admin for a series.
Must be refreshing. But I was pretty sure they're fuel limited. I think they have to do a pit stop to make it to the end. So,
okay.
So I could see, if Ross was back in traffic, and if he needed to get some repair done on the car, now's probably a good time to pit early and hopefully come out in some clear air.
Yep.
Or behind some slower cars that he knows he can get past quite easily, and maybe that'll get him up the order a little bit by the end of the race.
It's good to see Justin Cotterill in racing in AMF Series 2. So for those that don't know, Justin is the original AMF guy. He started AMF, I think we're almost at 10 years. It's either 8 years or 10 years we're up to. AMF's been around for quite a long time. and Justin is the owner of AMF and started AMF, and he was luckily nice enough to me to allow me to use the AMF name to start the GT series, and we've just grown exponentially since then. So yeah, and great to see Justin, one of our main admins, out there racing and having a good go of it.
Doing a good job putting the pressure on Chris Barnes here. Look, it looks like Barnes, he might be letting him through. So yeah, doing a great job.
He's also got Silvassi, and they're going to go 3 wide up here on the banking.
Pretty common scene at Daytona here with the toe down the main straight, but nice move by Martin here. He should get the move done. We've got more people in the pit, so we've had the lead 3 cars, Byron, Mario and Lockhart, drop in the pits, as well as Scott Forsyth. So
yeah, so most definitely use forced pit stops, which is good to see. Always changes up a race, and it's good to see how people will decide on how they do their pit stops.
Been some varying stop times though. Some guys have stopped for 9 seconds, others for 10 or 12. So
and
not too sure what strategy they're using here.
That'll all come down to fuel and or tyres. So Lockhart Brownlee stopped for 49 seconds, so he's taken tyres. That's an interesting call. Actually Lockhart's been down twice. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to Lockhart there.
He's only pitted once according to my data here.
Okay.
He might have 2 incidents, but he's only pitted once. But he was about 1 or 2 seconds slower in the pit lane than Byron and Mario in front of him there, so he's lost a little bit of ground. Blake Delaney hasn't pitted yet, so he's still pushing hard. Neither is Jamie in front of him, so we probably expect these guys in fairly soon, I'd imagine.
I would think so, yeah.
I'm not too sure exactly how much fuel they're going to have left on board.
And if you look there, these guys are still on their 8-lap stints. Tim and Lee are on 11.
Just looking at Byron at the moment. So Byron here, he's down in 15th position by the looks of it, but he's the first car that's pitted. So when everyone cycles through their pit stops, we should see Byron hop out to get in first place.
Yep.
The other thing you do notice with the GT3s and the GTEs as well is when you pit, the tyres do cool down a little bit. So that first out lap can be a pretty good lap. You get a little bit more grip out of the tyres when they're a bit cooler.
Yeah, I touched on this in the GT broadcast on Sunday night. The Stiggers told me that the heat is the big drama with these tyres. If you get too much heat into them, they have no life whatsoever. So when you do that pit stop, even if it's just for fuel, that 10 seconds of stationary, the tyres cool down quite a lot, and you get almost a second wind out of them.
You do, yeah, and can be half an undercut opportunity there as well. You will notice that the faster guys, if you watch their in-car, they just limit wheel spin out of corners. You know, they're not going to mash the throttle. They're a little bit smoother just to try and keep the tyres a bit cooler and make them last a bit longer.
You've got Rizzo here pushing pretty hard up against Swan.
So they've both pitted, so these guys are racing for position. So we know Ross is very quick, so we'll see how he can get the job done on Luke Swan in front of him. But it does look like the Lamborghini is pretty good in the tow. Like, it really gets sucked up behind other cars quite quickly. I think that might be a bit of an advantage to the Lamborghini on fast tracks. I drove the BMW in the practice session earlier, and it just didn't seem to get the same sort of tow that the Lambo got.
Yeah, and I think that's why we saw the Lamborghini really reign supreme there at Nürburgring, because the tow's not really a massive factor at Nürburgring. You do have those 2 main straights, but the rest of the track, it's all about how your aero is and how your car control is. So I think that's why we saw the BMW be a lot faster at Nürburgring. So it'll be interesting to see as we go to different tracks for the rest of the season.
Justin's still doing a good job here, up in 6th place now.
Yet to pit, but I'm sure he'll come out in a decent position afterwards.
So Ross has made a couple of moves there by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think Scott and Lee have come out of the pits and joined him on track, which means Ross has regained quite a lot of time, actually, of the time that he did lose in that incident with Tom Huggins. So, credit to Ross, he's just put his head down and just hitting his markers, hitting his lap times and getting out there.
That's it, Mr. Consistent. So we'd expect nothing less from Ross. So, but we do know the cars in front of him now are fairly quick. So, Scott's not going to be an easy car to get past. But it looks like Ross is ranging up pretty
Ross
close
has got
here.
a pretty good run on him here, but whether or not he's going to go deeper into the brakes, yeah.
Yeah, I think Scott knows who he's battling here, and it's probably not Ross.
Yeah, probably not. No, he's probably more interested in keeping Lee Vanderberg behind him and probably catching up to people like Blake Delaney and Jamie Dyke.
Yeah, exactly right. And if I was Scott, knowing my pace, I'd be happy to let Ross get in front and use Ross's toe to try and pull me forward through the pack ahead. Back on to Lockhart Brownlee here. So Lockhart is still running third on road. So after these other couple of guys at the top here, Brenton and Justin Pitt, we'll see Lockhart in third position and
having a fantastic race.
Brilliant race tonight. Yeah, the first race was great as well. Finished in fourth, I think, and up to third here, and still keeping up a good pace, even though he's lost the toe. His lap times look really solid.
And the last lap times there on the board, so yeah, he only 2/10 behind Mario there on the last lap. So very good. Ross Rizzo's absolutely flying.
Yeah, it's a purple lap of 44.1, so we know Ross had a bit of a toe, but even without the toe, he's a demon in these cars, so he'll be hard to stop as he makes his way through the field.
Yep.
I do love the way this Lamborghini looks. I don't drive it myself. I tend to like the way the BMW handles, but looks like a mean race car, the Lambo.
It is quite a mean race car, but it can also be quite mean to you as well. It has tendencies to have a bit of snap oversteer, and depending on your setup and obviously how you like your car set up, it can be a bit of a handful sometimes.
And yeah, especially braking into corner entries, the rear end has this tendency to want to come around on you. It's based on the Audi platform, which is very similar, so it takes a certain driving style to get the most out of it. But obviously Byron up the front here and Ross, these guys are really able to get the most out of this car at the moment, and Byron's putting in some cracking laps at the moment as well. He was only 2/10 slower than Ross that last lap, so he's really got this race under control at the moment.
And Ross has actually jumped all of these guys already. We missed that one live, but we go back and have a look at it. Looks like it'll be around the outside into turn one.
Yep, they let him have it there.
I think so, yes.
Probably the smart thing to do.
But looks like Jamie's done the right thing and tucked him behind him and trying to get his toe as much as possible and stay with him. It looks like he'll be close enough here.
If you go side by side, the other risk is, of course, not only do you slow yourself and Ross down, but you also make yourself vulnerable to the guys behind. So he's got Blake and Scott Forsyth tucked in there right behind him. So I think he absolutely did the right thing by letting Ross go through, and now he's just got to try and use Ross's toe if he can, like really work hard to try and keep up with Ross here and keep ahead of the guys behind him.
Yeah, very hard to do with the long straights in the drafts.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And look, Ross just got just enough of a gap, I think, coming out of the bus stop there, so he's probably safe. And I think he'll be looking down the road at Lockhart. Lockhart's only 3 seconds ahead of him here, and we've got 6 minutes to go, so it's a bit of a gap to make up. But you never know, like Lockhart could make a small mistake, and all of a sudden Ross will be right on his heels for a podium.
6 minutes, so we've got roughly 4 laps maybe to go. More than a second a lap.
It's a big ask. Yeah, we've got 3 laps after this one, so it's a big ask. As long as no one in the front makes a mistake, they should be okay.
And Ross is only lapping roughly half a second faster than Lockhart at the moment, so yeah, quite a big ask.
But you never know, stranger things happen, so that's one thing in racing, you just never know what's going to happen. You just got to keep pushing and take your chances if they come.
So good race here for Brenton West. Brenton's been up 9 positions. But as I touched on before, Rob Carmichael up 25 positions in this race, so that crash really did hurt him in race 1.
Absolutely, yeah, and a cracking drive, like, you know, to get up 25 positions on a track like this where, you know, you don't have a huge draft capability, you know, to overtake someone down the main straight is an awesome job.
Rob's always been a great competitor. He fights very hard, but he's a very fair driver too, so great to see Rob back in the position where he probably should have been in race 1.
He's done quite a bit in the V8s, hasn't he?
Yes. Yeah, he does do quite a lot of V8 driving, but he's spent quite a lot of time with us here in AMF as well, in the GT series.
You get Jamie Dyke here, another fishy motorsports driver, and it looks like Scott Forsyth has been able to make the move on him, but here he is tucked right in the toe here, getting a great run around the outside. Up on the bank.
I'd be very worried about Delaney here. Delaney's the one that's going to have the speed with the double toe, but the BMW just does not seem as slippery through that toe.
Yeah, no, not quite, but
Scott's come back at him too.
Yeah, that inside line, as long as he's confident under brakes there, it's you get the job done, but he's a little bit at risk here of getting boxed out by the 2 fishy cars if they can get a move done.
Delaney's put the move on Dyke now, so and Scott must have had a problem on the exit there. Delaney's all over him.
Starting to look aggressive, only a few laps to go here, so...
Oh, Scott's run wide, but he will get that. He should have the position into the next corner.
This looks like Blake's been able to find a huge amount of rear traction coming out of corners in that BMW in the last half of the race here. And the question is, can he get enough of a toe to get past?
I would say by the looks of it, yes. But it seems to just hit a wall when it comes to the outside of it. He's got a good side draft there.
Going for the side draft. Now it's a game of chicken. We love watching this. Who's going to back off?
Not Scott.
No, he didn't back off earlier either, so he showed his hand early in the race, but he didn't back off, going side by side. I think it was with Martin Silvassi. And Blake's still with a good exit here, so...
Lockhart's managed to pull Mario in and take him as well.
I'd be suggesting maybe Mario's made a mistake somewhere. We might have to go back and see what happened there, but gee, great driving. Lockhart up to second.
No, I think he's just got a fantastic toe out of the bus stop. Maybe Mario's had a bad exit out of the bus stop, but...
Yeah, I think that's probably what's happened. That was a very
easy pass.
Lockhart. Yeah, it was an easy pass. It looked a bit too easy, if you know what I mean, but... I see he's doing a good job keeping up with Lockhart now, though, so pressure's on Lockhart. This will be one of his best results in an AMF series, easily, so he'll be working hard. The heart rate will be rising a little bit.
It's funny when you don't win many races and you get into a position like this, your body starts doing funny things to you.
You do start getting nervous, that's for sure.
Yes.
Whether he finishes second or third, he's had a mega effort tonight.
I think the top 4 have just been in a class of their own tonight, truly.
Yeah, well, they've obviously had good pace, but they've just driven a smart race as well. They haven't done anything stupid. They've kept the car clean, haven't got damage, so they've been able to keep their speed down the straights.
Even Rizzo for himself, for getting taken out in the bus stop early on and still managing to come back and get up into 4th place.
Yeah,
He's
fantastic.
Phenomenal drive.
Jamie Dyke, so it looks like Blake Delaney's got past Scott. Still in front of him here, and
Scott's got the
pressure.
run. And then Blake's got the run, so are we going to see 3 wide into turn 1? Scott has shown that he's very, very confident at turn 1, and again, very late on the brakes. And Jamie seems to like that really wide line out there, but I think he's got a little bit too wide then, and he's let the Mark 1 car, I believe, Vandenberg, get up right up close on him too, so...
Yeah, Jamie hasn't looked as confident on the brakes. Oh no, we've had an incident there. I've got an apology from Blake.
That's very unfortunate.
Quite sure what happened there, but looks like Blake might have just given Scott a bit of a nudge in the rear quarter panel.
Oh yeah, bit wide. It's a interesting accident.
Listening to the voice chat at the moment, we've got Lockhart defending heavily from Mario, who's giving him lots of light flashing, so the pressure's not at the front.
Mario's gotten him into the bus stop.
This is the last lap by the looks of it, so Lockhart's got a great exit out of the bus stop here.
Just needs to keep that side draft.
Needs to keep that going. This is going to be a close finish across the line. Looks like he's got the momentum. Mario's tucked back in to try and get a draft past him again.
Just don't see it happening, and he's taken it. He's taken second position.
Fantastic finish. Great racing. Byron with the win there.
Rizzo coming through in 4th. Vandenberg and Luke Swan. Adrian's had a great finish there as well.
Amber Griffin up to 8th, 21 positions, and Jesse Butler up 21 positions as well. So great drive from both of them. We haven't spoken about Amber or Jesse much tonight, but they've had a really solid drive up the field in that second race.
Well, yeah, I think Amber, Jesse and Rob were all taken out in that crash early in race 1, and that's obviously put them way down the field.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of big moves. Jake Foraker up 17 positions as well. Adam Bryant up 15 positions. Paul Joan up 18 positions. So another good drive from Paul. Our man Justin here in a tight battle. Looks like he just got pipped at the end there by Grant. And Todd just at the line, very close.
Very, very close.
Yeah, pretty action-packed race, that one. I think the fuel stop really adds a lot to the strategy of races like this. So, you know, we saw a couple of guys pit early on just to try and get some clear track and make some time up, like Ross had used that to their advantage, and just some great racing. Really good racing side by side, and not a lot of damage.
Yeah, some great racing. Look, it's Daytona. You're always going to see crashes. It's just one of those things. But overall, some great racing tonight. And yeah, they put on a bit of a show for us, which is nice. Just trying to get the show the results, but and there's the results for the feature. So final results are Byron Phillips takes out the win for Evolution Racing Team. Lockhart Brownlee, not sure why he's listed as privateer, but he is a FSR driver. I'll have to have a look at that.
Sim racing driver, yes.
Mario for Team Iridium rounds out the podium. Then we have Ross Rizzo for Trick Esports, Lee Vandenberg for Mark 1 Esports, Luke Swan for Iridium Sim Sports, Adrian for DPR, Amber Griffin, Jesse Butler, Jamie Dyke, Rob Carmichael, Brenton West, Martin Silvassi, Jake, Scott Forsyth, both for Aries Motorsport, Blake Delaney unfortunately dropped quite a fair bit back with that incident, into 16th, Chris Barnes in 17th, Adam Bryant for Pulse Racing Team in 18th. Paul Jones, Michael Whiting, Grant Matterford, Justin Cotterill, Todd George, Eddie Van Helsen, Cam Walker, Justin Quinn, Tom Chapman and Craig Ellis all finished on the lead lap.
Great driving, great races, and yeah, good to see a couple of drivers we don't see too often up in the top 10 there, like Amber Griffin. Adrian Leckie did a great job. Luke Swan showing some really good pace as well. I think Lockhart Brownlee was one of the standouts. He's, you know, as I said, he's only young, 1800i rating, and up there in second position. Just drove a very smart race.
Yeah, drove a great race, and we'll actually hear from the race winner now. Congratulations, Byron, on taking out the win for round 3.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. It was a good race. Good first heat and feature race. Had yeah, it was a really good first race with Ross, with how the strategy played out with who led the last lap and how slipstream worked, and I managed to time it right through the bus stop by getting a good run. But yeah, thanks.
Yeah, great race. You guys were really all over each other in that first one. Unfortunately, Rizzo got into a bit of an altercation into the bus stop early in the feature race, but no, you drove a fantastic race.
Yeah, it would have been a great race, but yeah, not sure what happened back there, but that managed for me and Mario to get the gap, and then I think I did my pit stop really well to break slip.
Yeah. How did you find the setups out there? Obviously, being a fixed setup, how do you find the setups?
I find it's actually a really good setup. I honestly don't mind it with all the wing and stuff, because I think with more wing it produces more like drag and stuff, so there's more slipstream and all that. So
Yep.
It just makes it really good for racing, to keep all the pack compressed.
Yeah, well, it's something we found here with AMF. If we run fixed setups, we tend to get a lot more compressed packs and more racing, and that's, at the end of the day, if that's what everyone wants. You don't want to be out on a track by yourself. You want to be racing people. So congratulations on the win in both the heat and the feature. Is there anybody you wanted to thank before we say goodbye?
Yeah, just ERT and you guys put on the broadcast and the race for tonight.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
No worries. So,
Catch. And now we have our third place winner for the race is Mario. Congratulations on third tonight, Mario.
Yeah, thanks. It was a pretty hard night. After seeing how the BMW was a bit slow at this track than the Lambo, so it was good to get a good result.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic result. We noticed that the BMW, especially compared to Nürburgring in round 1, the BMW was a little bit slower here than the Lamborghini, but we are going to see that as the season goes on with fixed sets, where one car will be stronger than the other. How do you find the setups in the fixed setup series?
Yeah, I find the setups pretty good, but the tyres wear out pretty quickly throughout the race, so you always have to adapt your braking zones, and yeah, overall it's pretty good.
I would say our Stig has done that intentionally to increase the racing, and quite actually he has done that to increase the racing. So we do have tyre wear there, and obviously it makes you guys think about more than just what's happening in front of you on the track. You've got to think about how you're treating your tyres, especially over that 30-minute feature race.
Yeah, of course. I mean, adds, I guess, another aspect of challenge into the racing.
So, certainly does.
Over time it really drops off, so yeah.
Well, congratulations on third in tonight's feature race. Is there anybody you wanted to thank tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my team SimCore, I guess Byron for giving me some great advice, and my mum and dad, Richard, and my sponsors Assassin Dirt Bikes and Assassin Aluminium.
No worries, Mario. Well, congratulations on third tonight, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have our second place in the feature, Lockhart Brownlee. Congratulations on second tonight, Lockhart.
Thanks. Not sure what to say, but
You must be pretty pumped with that one, Lockhart. As a bit of a biased teammate, I was cheering on from the commentary booth here, but it looked like a pretty eventful race, but you really had to keep your head down and be focused and not make mistakes in that one.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I put a bit much fuel in, and I lost quite a bit of time to Mario there. Just had to gain it back in that after the pit stop, which was pretty fun to do, and we only passed him on the second last lap or last lap. So
How did you find the draft? Because it looked like, from what we could see, the BMW wasn't great in the draft, but it looks like the Lamborghini was a little bit slipperier.
Yeah, the Lamborghini was 100% faster. Like you could pull out of the draft and you'd still have plenty of power to get out of it. The BMW could catch up in the draft, just couldn't pass. But also the BMW was a bit slower on the straights. It felt like I was catching Mario a little bit each lap, just going past there after the bus stop. Just I was gaining a 10th here, 10th there. Just how I gained my time, I suppose.
Well, it was a great race to watch. I'm sure it was great to drive in as well, and everyone was impressed by how you handled yourself, and probably your best result so far in AMF, I'd imagine.
Yeah, definitely my best result. I don't think I've finished in the top 10 and split one before, so I'll take it.
Congratulations, Lockhart. Before we say goodbye, is there anybody you wanted to thank for tonight?
Got to look at our sponsors. Thanks to Simrig, Sonic Solutions, Clip Signage, and Carter Clustering. Yeah. Other than that, that was a good race from everyone, and thanks for hosting it, the guys at AMF.
No worries, Lockhart. Congratulations on second place again.
Thank you.
And that's about it for us tonight. Nathan, thanks for joining me in the commentary booth again.
That's all right. No, I always enjoy having a chat. It's nice not to drive for a change and watch the cars go around in circles. So I'll be looking forward to the next round. I think we're off to Monza.
Yeah, we certainly are doing the GP course at Monza. It'll be very, very interesting to see how the cars go there, especially with the tyre wear, because we're running at noon. So I'm saying we're probably going to have a pretty hot track. So it'll be interesting to see how the cars handle Monza, especially in the feature race.
Yeah, I'm hoping they're going to be pretty close there. I know it's a bit of a draft track, which might suit the Lamborghini, but with the fast corners, I think some of the guys in BMWs are going to be able to make that car work pretty well.
Yeah, I think so too. So anyway, from us here in AMF iRacing Leagues, it's a good night, and thank you for joining in.